Hello, guys. Welcome back. This is John here, and I'm happy that you are here. Okay, today's topic is on the shocking norms in Australia. Basically, showing the ways of life or lifestyle in Australia, which, from my perspective as someone from Africa, is not what I'm used to, and most people from Africa will find this a little bit unique or a little bit different from the norm or the normal culture in Africa. I'm very sure even people from other parts of the world and other continents like Asia and maybe the Caribbean, South America, might find this one also as not what they are used to. And even countries like Jamaica, where people who are from African origin mostly reside. So I will give a disclaimer before I start indicating those norms. Is I have to give a disclaimer. I don't want people to start hammering me and saying maybe I'm being disrespectful of someone's culture, or maybe I'm not assimilating into the culture, or maybe someone might say I'm not accepting the diversity and inclusion. No, it's not about that. I love Australia. I live in Australia. I've lived here for very long, and I'm happy and I like the country. It's one of the best developed countries, and it's a place where you feel home away from home. It's the best place to live, basically. But as somebody who was born in Africa and grew up in Africa, and I believe most Africans would relate to this, or people of African origin, something like that, or people who have experienced African culture would find these norms in Australia to be a little bit different. So I have to give that disclaimer that I'm doing this with so much respect, and I have no ill intent, and there's no intention to taint anybody's reputation or image. It's just entertainment and educational purposes. Okay, let me start the norms in Australia, which are a bit unique or which look a bit strange for someone from Africa. Number one is the need for appointment whenever you want to visit a friend or any other person within Australia. It doesn't matter what kind of reason you wanted to visit that person. The fact remains, before you visit someone, you need to get an appointment. That sounds strange, because in Africa, there's nothing like that. You just call someone, tell someone I'm coming, I'm visiting you, and that's it. In some cases, you just go. You just go. You don't need to book an appointment to see someone. It's nobody can ask you that do you have an appointment to visit my home? Because here you cannot just do that, because you read there, and even if someone is there and you don't have an appointment, that would be look disrespectful. So, as someone who grew up in Africa, asking for an appointment or booking for an appointment before you visit a friend or any other person is shocking. It's not normal in Africa. It's not normal. Let's go to number two, which is the socialization culture or the social culture. So there are challenges in socialization whereby people live their individual lives. People kind of value more of privacy. And I will give an example of a situation where you will live in a community, you don't know, and you don't know the name of your neighbor on your right. You do not know the name of your neighbor opposite your house, or on the left side of your house, or behind your backyard. People literally live individual kind of life. People mind their own business. They keep to themselves. This is not normal because in Africa, people live as a community. You will always know, if you live in a place, you'll always know who is living next door. Almost everybody around you will be knowing the name, including the children. You will even know their names. You will know if there's a stranger or a new person in that house or in that homestead, you will know that person does not belong there. But here you don't. You live your life in a private mode, kind of. People live their own individual lifestyle, and it's okay. It's normal. Nobody has an issue with that. But someone from Africa, that looks so strange because people always have that community aspect where they know you know the people who live around you. Here, going to a neighbor without an appointment or without a good reason, you might get a very bad reception. Not all of them, but that impromptu visits to people is not normal. It's not normal. People value their privacy, and they are okay that way. And that's why in that kind of lifestyle, there are people who are specifically employed as community support. People who go around identifying themselves. They are employed to do that. So that's, I think it was a way of covering that loophole, because it's their responsibility to go around and checking how people are faring on in some households. Maybe if something has been reported, something like that. But basically, generally, people value their privacy. So socialization is a bit strange. You cannot compare with Africa, where people they'll just come to your homestead, they say hi, and sometimes you give them water or milk, and they go their way, and it's normal. Nobody will question that, why did that person come there? And most of these experiences, because I grew up in a village, so most of my observations are based on a village setup, because that's where I grew up. But it's a common thing across Africa. I know cultures are different even within Africa, but the differences are almost the same. Okay, number 3 is work-life balance. In Africa, we know people just are employed one job, and that's what they do. And that's what they do. If you are employed in government, that's the job you do, and that's it. No other job. So people also can do some business as a side hustles on the side, but the main job is one. But here in Australia, people will work to 3 jobs in order to get enough money to live a very not a very but a relatively comfortable life, because of the also high cost of living. So just one job sometimes will not allow someone to live in a way they would have wanted. So that's why people work 2 to 3 jobs. So the culture, there's a work culture where it's normal to work. So say that if somebody is not working, it's not okay. So people basically work. It's normal for people to work, and which I don't find it okay, because it leads to fatigue and things like that, and it can break families for people who have families. Not good for bringing up children and things like that. Number 4 is the home for the aged people in the society. So in Africa, people take care of their aged and parents until their last days on this earth. But in Australia and most developed world, there is nursing homes. There are nursing homes where the aged are kept and taken care of, and it doesn't matter even if they have children and even if the children are alive. It is convenient for the parents to go to the nursing home, so that the children can be able to continue working, because they also are supposed to pay bills. So it's normal here, but in Africa, that's strange. Parents will stay at home, and it's the responsibility of the children to take care of their parents. So parents will not be taken to or the age, generally, not necessarily parents, the age, are not taken to nursing homes. Number 5 is folks here get free monthly pay from the government if they are unemployed, and also for cases of mothers who are stay-at-home parents taking care of children. So because you have more children and you have no pay, you have no salary, or you are just even a single guy, but you have no pay, and you have no job or employment with a good reason, you are paid something by the government, pay monthly, and you will find some people who just survive on that, and they don't work. They'll just survive on that, and that's enough to pay for a few bills they have, and life goes on. So somebody can survive with a pay from the government without working. You'll never find that in Africa. Number 6 is almost 99.9% of homes own either a car or motor vehicle or a motorcycle. And that's something simple. It's like owning a cheap phone in Africa. It's a necessity here. In Africa, that's luxury. Number 7, most groceries are bought from the stores or supermarkets in that case, and which is different from Africa. Africa, people grow their own vegetables, their own fruits, they get from their own farms, and most of the things they eat come from their own farms. That's different here. People purely eat greens or groceries from the store. Not necessarily everything for to prepare in the kitchen. You have to go to the store, basically. In Africa, if you want meat, you can get it from your own farm. If you want eggs, you'll get it from your own farm. If you want greens, you'll get it from your own garden. So that's another thing which is different here. Number 8 is it's hard to make friends. It's hard to make friends here because people are busy with their own individual lives, and it's normal basically to just be on your own. Someone can be on his or her own for a whole year without inviting people to his home or mingling with other people, but basically doing his work, that's it. Then going to his home, doing his or her own things, and it's normal. In Africa, that would be strange because it's normal to have friends. It's normal for people to come to your home, and it's easy to make friends, and genuine friends for that matter. But here somehow, maybe for other people, but for me, it's hard to make friends here. Number 9 is government takes care of the disabled people or the people living with disability in the society. The government takes care of that. Almost in everything, financially, even the housing and all that, the government takes care of that. In Africa, it's far. We are far from achieving. Africa is still far from achieving that. Families will just handle that on their own. They will struggle with that situation. But here, the government really takes care. That's a good thing. It's a good thing, and for someone from Africa to be told such a thing, they find that shocking because it's very hard to imagine that such a thing can happen in Africa. The next one is fast foods culture, where people are used to fast foods. So people basically prefer to eat fast foods instead of cooking their own food. I'm not saying everyone does that, but it's a thriving or a big industry. The fast food restaurants is really thriving. So people prefer to eat fast foods instead of cooking their own food, which is the opposite to what happens in Africa. Then the next one is burial rights when you lose your loved one. Okay, don't worry. I'm looking at the list which I made, so that's why I'm not focused so much on the camera, but because I did a rough listing here. So in Africa, when someone loses a loved one, it is the affair becomes a community thing. It's a community issue. So the whole community will mourn with the family and they'll be involved actively in the entire process of mourning and the bereavement period. So, and in most cases in Africa, the burial rites, people are not invited. The community is not invited. They just come. Sometimes they even come earlier than the burial date, and it's normal. So it's a community thing. So everybody, if a loved one is lost, the entire community will be mourning, and not necessarily, it's not a family affair. So here, kind of is a family affair and a few friends. And it's not strange to see a function of the last burial rites of someone, which is attended by even less than 10 people. And it is the last day of someone, which needs respect. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying in an African setup, that looks different. It looks odd, but it's normal here. It's normal here. 5 to 10 people can oversee a burial rite of someone, or the last rites, because some people do cremation. Just that process of sending off someone. In Africa, it's a big thing, and it's attended by the whole community, including politicians and leadership and things like that. Here, it's just mostly friends and a family affair. So you'll not be shocked to see just less than 10 people attending such last rites of someone. Okay, let's go to the next one. The list is endless. There's number 12, which is taking kids to and from school or college. In Africa, we have something called boarding schools, especially secondary schools. So kids will go there and they will stay there. They will just come home like 3 times in a year, but they entirely stay in college or school. But here, you have to take, as a parent, you have to take your child to school in the morning, and you bring your child back back home as a parent, or you organize a mode of transport, either bus. You organize a way, but it is the responsibility of the parent. So what we are used to in Africa of boarding schools is not a normal thing here. So it's not the norm here. Number 13, politics are minimal. People here don't care so much about politics the way we do in Africa. In Africa, we focus so much as to who is leading the country, who is the president, who is the prime minister, who is your local governor, things like that. Here, people focus on their lives because the institutions are working, and whether whichever party is in leadership doesn't matter to someone on the lower cadre of the society. So what people focus on is to work. People work, they don't care as long as they're getting the services which they need. So the issue of politics going all the way to the grassroots and the community here is not is not a normal thing. So in Africa, we focus so much on politics. Here, people don't even they just participate when the time comes, but doesn't get into their heads the way we do in Africa. Africa politics is more of life and death. Okay, number 14, there's the emergency services, especially medical services, ambulance, 000, 911, 999, those ones are very efficient and prompt. So you need them just a call away, and they'll be there in a split of a second. 10 minutes, they'll be there if something happens, whether it's fire brigade or ambulance and all that. So it works. So someone from Africa, when you are told that if you call the police, they'll be here in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, is a big issue. It's shocking because Africa, you will in some remote places, and sometimes it's not even about, it's about the infrastructure which is there. It's even about the cost. The cost. Ambulance can even not be available because it lacks fuel or something like that. I'm not trying to belittle Africa, but that's a fact. Very small issues can make people to lose their lives because of that. So here, that's the best thing. It's very efficient emergency services. Then we have communication. Here, it's common to find that people only understand one language, and that is the mother tongue. So basically, for example, here is English language. I know if you go to France, also it's the same thing. It's French. If it's German, it's German, something like that. But for Australia, it's English. So something I realized is that here, the language is just one, English. That's it. So majority of the people, it's just that one language, and they don't understand any other language, just that one. Majority. I'm not saying all. Some people understand other languages. Some people will speak original from Italy, and they'll be speaking the language in that country. Some are from France, they'll be speaking that. And there are also others who are native, like the Aboriginal people and the Torres Strait Islanders. So they'll be speaking their other language. But those are now a few cases. But the majority is just one language, and that's English. But in Africa, most people will be speaking at least three languages. At least three languages. Almost everyone will be speaking at least three languages. And anyone who has gone to school, even up to just secondary schools, or even primary schools, they'll be speaking at least three languages. Someone who has never gone to school completely will be speaking at least a minimum of two languages. That's someone who have never stepped in a school. You'll find them speaking two languages. Because the other one is mother tongue, then the other one is a national language. And then the third language is the foreign language now. So the foreign language is mostly, depends which, the country which colonized that nation. Like if it is Britain, people will be speaking English. If it is Germany, people will be speaking German. If it is Spain, people will be speaking Spanish. If it is Portuguese, like Mozambique, they'll be speaking Portuguese. So so Africans, in most cases, almost everyone will be speaking at least three languages in most cases, and then others two languages. But it's very hard to find someone just speaking one language. Very hard. Okay, let's go to the next one, and that's organic foods. Africa entirely, I don't want to say 100%, because I don't know other countries. Maybe other countries in Africa have started adopting the genetically modified foods, but it's the main food is organic foods, and that's the affordable food, and which is available everywhere in the market and things like that. And even in farms, people cultivate their own organic foods in their own farms. But the developed nations like Australia have adopted GMOs, and you have to buy those food from the stores. So this creates an environment where it's very expensive to get organic foods, or you go to a supermarket and then you are told this one is organic and then this one is GMO. The one which is organic is the expensive one, which sometimes might not be within the reach of other people. That's why you go to the store And then you see a banana labeled organic. Another one is not organic. The one which is labeled organic is expensive. And the organic ones in most cases have, when it comes to fruits, are the ones with seeds. The other ones do not have seeds. So in Africa, that's a strange thing because all the food is organic. So there's no differentiation that this is genetically modified and this is organic. Okay, number 17 is climate. So here we have winter and summer, or the cold and the hot seasons. But in Africa, obviously with the exclusion of the desert part of Africa, so they will be having only dry seasons and wet seasons or rainy seasons. And they are not very cold and they are not very, very hot. It's just normal. Actually, it's referred as the planting season and the harvesting seasons. So the planting seasons will be rainy or wet. Then the harvesting season will be dry and sometimes windy. But generally the climate will not it's not harsh. It's not harsh. Here it's winter, cold, then summer, hot, and then there are those seasons in between. Okay, then we have 18. I'm almost done. 18 is entertainment of guests or welcoming of guests. Here is a bit unique in that when someone is expecting a visitor, there's nothing much. It's not a must that food will be prepared. It's not. There's nothing like much of entertainment. So it's more of business. Even if it's someone visiting, it will still look like more of official. But in Africa, when visitors are coming to your home, it's a little bit different. If somebody is in the village and somebody has a sheep, they will prepare one for the guests. If it is chicken, they'll prepare one for the guests. And then the guests will be welcomed in a warm manner and treated differently, somehow special. And I remember in those old days, even before social media, a guest would even be entertained with the photos of the family, acquainting with the visitor. So a visitor will be given a photo album just to go through while they are relaxing. There is certain respect and a special way in which the visitor will be treated. Here, it's more casual. It's more casual. You don't even have, sometimes even food will not be offered. But in Africa, visitors are treated in a very special way. And not necessarily visitors. Even a passerby in Africa, a stranger who is passing by your home, sometimes you ask them if they need some milk or some water and you just give them and then they continue. You say hi and then they continue their way. So there's a difference in the way we treat visitors or strangers. Okay, then there is the mate culture. It's very common to hear someone telling you, hello mate, good night mate, good day mate. So mate basically means friend. And it's a common thing here in Australia. So if you are new in Australia, you'll be surprised why someone is calling you mate. But basically it means friend. And there's no gender, it's regardless of gender. So a lady will say mate, a man will say mate. So it's genderless. So it's a common thing and it's a way of greeting here in here in Australia. It's a common way of addressing someone. Then the last one, finally, this is the final one. Actually, this video has gone to that 5 minutes. It's longer than I expected. It should have been shorter than that. Okay, the last one is the smiling culture. Number 20, the last one is the smiling culture. Here, if you are new here, you'll be shocked because every time you meet someone, someone will smile at you. Someone will be coming all the way, minding his or her own business. When you meet each other, he or she will smile at you. A very beautiful smile, a nice smile. Will smile at you. So, and then they just pass. They just pass you. They have smiled at you, then they just pass without saying nothing. So in Africa, we are used to, you meet people, you give them their hand, you want to shake them. You meet people, you want to shake their hand. So that shaking thing is not normal here. It's not normal here. So if you are new here, the moment they smile at you, your quick thinking is to give your hand for to shake the hands of the other person. But the shaking hands is not, it is there, yes. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's not a normal thing, a frequent thing. You cannot just go out shaking hands with strangers. But the smiling part is very prevalent. It's common here. So somebody will smile at you and then immediately pass you without even greeting you, shaking your hand, or saying anything after that. Nothing. So you'll go to a store, you meet with someone, initially minding his or her own business, then suddenly, when you make contact, they smile at you. So first, when you are still new, you will be surprised. You wouldn't know how to respond. Then with time, you get used to it. You also start smiling. You also it's called diversity and inclusion. So eventually, you will also get used to. You end up smiling, but that smiling somehow doesn't mean anything, because we are smiling at each other, but we don't even stop to say hi and know each other and things like that. No, everybody is minding his or her own business, but they will find that time to smile at you. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. At least somebody has acknowledged you and give you a smile. But it's a common thing here, which someone, if you are new here in Australia, you will think, maybe this person knows me, or maybe there's a way this person likes me, or something like that. If you are new, you will think like that. You will think like that, especially if you are if you are totally new, and let's say you meet that person twice, and that's the same, you will start thinking maybe this person knows me, or things like that, or this person. It's just I don't want to say a dry smile. I don't want to put it that way. I don't want to make it bad, but that's it. You meet someone is minding their business. The moment you meet like this, they smile. In a split of a second, they change. No, that smile disappears, and then they go with their own business. And you don't even spend some time to talk with that person. No, it's just smile. That's it. It's a way of acknowledging, yeah, I've seen you. That's it. So the smiling culture is so unique. It's so unique. Because in Africa, somebody smiling at you just like that for nothing, you might ask the person, what's up? What's the problem? Or what's the issue? But here it's normal. It's normal. You smile. They smile at someone smiles at you. You smile back. It's just that. It's just that simple. You smile back, and then it doesn't mean anything. It's just a way of saying hi. But so on my part, the one which was interesting to me, or shocking to me most, is that smile, the smiling one. among all this. Okay, so it's just a way of acknowledging your presence. That's all, guys. The video has gone to 40 minutes and I wanted to be 20. I don't know how, but that's it. I have to repeat the disclaimer that I'm not doing to despise anyone or to rebuke a culture, no, or to taint or anybody's culture or way of life, no. I've accepted inclusion and diversity, and I've lived here and I'm living well in the society. I'm part of the society, and I'm not despising anybody's culture. So I'm just highlighting the differences. That's all. So the video is done with very big respect to the culture in Australia. All right, guys, that's it for today's video, and thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.